And when it got to my turn, I literally said, well, I just wish people would stop wanting me dead. I don't know how to respond in icebreakers. I feel like there's this secret way you're supposed to do it. It's supposed to be true, but only to a certain degree, and I never really seem to know where that cutoff line is. And I will give you an example. So if you didn't know, I'm trans, and there's a lot of LGBTQ hate going around these days. Somehow, I don't remember what the conversation was in our small group of it was a little breakout icebreaker group where we're supposed to be learning about one another. And somebody said something they were struggling with. And I don't remember what it was, but in my brain, it was like, that's not a real problem. I will share what a real problem is. And when it got to my turn, I literally said, well, I just wish people would stop wanting me dead. Full stop. That was it. Welcome to the channel. My name is Allison. I am creating content around my journey of my own self-discovery when it comes to neurodivergency. I was diagnosed about 10 years ago, but I didn't really even understand what that meant until recently. But today, I want to talk about corporate onboarding. Part of the reason it never occurred to me that I could be neurodivergent, despite having a diagnosis for 10 years, is that I have ADHD and autism. What I've learned is that these two tend to be at odds with one another. And honestly, that's the best way I can explain it too. That's how it feels. This constant, I really want to go out and do something it's Saturday night tonight. I do actually kind of want to go out and do something fun, go out and I don't know, whatever. But at the same time, I don't. Yeah, it's a battle. And sometimes the ADHD side takes the wheel and sometimes the autism side takes the wheel. Sometimes they share the wheel and that just is all sorts of chaos. But today we're specifically talking about corporate onboarding, like new jobs. I have actually not had that many jobs probably compared. I know that's a thing. A lot of times people get burnt out and they quit. I was always in situations where just quitting my job wasn't really an option. So instead I would just suffer and just try to hold on and not get fired, basically. Just do the bare minimum to stay under the radar and be left alone. Didn't always work, but it would keep me employed. And that was the goal, really. It was just survival mode. So I want to talk about my last corporate job. This was pre-pandemic. This is going back 7 or 8 years now. And what that was like. Because as I look back at that, I see so many struggles that I always thought was just me. Honestly, I kid you not, there was a huge part of me that thought that I was sort of an awful person. Not in the sense that I would do mean things, although sometimes things I said made me seem mean, and I've been accused of more than one time of being a bitch. I remember the first time I got accused of that in high school. I was completely dumbfounded, how on earth could you think I could do something so mean? That's just not in my nature. Why would you even think that? You hardly know me, but that's what you think? And it never really correlated into me that it's because of the way I act and the things I say. I am very honest to a fault. I have a very dry sense of humor. And yeah, anyways, I digress. I never really shared my struggles with new jobs or being in a job, at least not these struggles, because it always seemed like I was, I don't know, just not a team player, as they say, or something, which I guess I'm not technically, but whatever. Icebreakers. Icebreakers are the worst thing for me. I don't want to have dinner with anybody. And I sure as fuck have no animals that I relate to and would be. Please stop asking me these dumbass questions. I don't know how to respond in icebreakers. I feel like there's this secret way you're supposed to do it. It's supposed to be true, but only to a certain degree, and I never really seem to know where that cutoff line is. Well, I just wish people would stop wanting me dead. That did not go over well, as you can imagine. That was met with utter silence. And yeah, so I still don't know where the line is, but I know that was over it, apparently. So yeah, I don't like icebreakers. I despise them. They can also be really triggering. I have a lot of issues with my past, as you can probably imagine. So a lot of times things can just really trigger me in ways that it's like I'm put into this situation where I don't like to lie. I do not like lying. Don't like the little fake small talk, things like that. I would rather just not share if that's the case. So I feel like I'm put in these situations where my only options are create utter weird silence like before, or lie. And then it's like, well, do I have to keep track of this lie? Is anybody else going to remember? It's exhausting. And not to mention, I just don't care. I don't care who you would like to have dinner with and why. And this is where I would always have that issue where I felt like I was a mean person. I just don't care. I don't know. I don't care why you would want to have dinner with some old dead person, and I don't care. It's just this whole big waste of time, really, is what it is. Like, why are we doing this? I know I started off talking about a job I'd had pre-pandemic, but this most recent job that I got, most of the onboarding was remote. So the good thing is I don't have tech issues, but they don't know that. So I would time my issues with icebreakers, and nobody seemed to catch on to that when we would have these random icebreaker moments, because like after the whole like awkward situation, I was like, I'm not doing this again. So if the icebreaker was something that I could easily answer and move on, fine. But if it was anything that was going to cause any type of distress at all, I just X'd out of the Zoom, and I would just like get in chat and be like, sorry, my internet cut or whatever, whatever. Yeah, that was the end of that. That worked for a while. Eventually, I finally did kind of have to like share my anxiety with some of the onboarding people so that they would stop asking me these dumb questions, because like I just couldn't take it anymore. A lot of what learning about this myself is that, like I said, I carried a lot of guilt that I'm a mean person, because I don't care who you would like to have dinner with, dead or alive. In my mind, that made me seem so mean, because like other people, they seem generally to enjoy these type of things or to be interested, and I don't care. So a lot of this self-discovery has taught me that like that doesn't make me a bad person. If you want to talk about something meaningful, I am more than willing to listen and have conversations, but if it's not meaningful, I don't want to do it. And not to mention, I never even hear people's answers, because I'm spending the whole time trying to figure out what I'm going to say, where those lines are, that I will be able to say something that doesn't make people look at me weird, doesn't get me into trouble. Yeah. All right. I feel like I've spent a lot of time on icebreakers, so let's move on. Back to the pre-pandemic job. The room that we had like our new hire training in, why are they always so quiet and cold? Or really hot? I don't understand what is so hard about this. Like, it's pretty simple. You know where the sun rises, you know where it sets, put some freaking curtains or shades or something on these windows. Like, it's not that hard. Don't understand what the problem is, but I digress. I mostly have an issue with the sound. It is so quiet, which, you know, the ADHD side of me doesn't really like quiet. In fact, it's one of the hardest things I have when it comes to filming videos is that I have to shut everything down. I have to turn fans off. I have to turn the TV off. I have to turn the music off. And I don't like that. Now, once I get going, I'm okay, but I really don't like that. And as soon as I turn off the camera, all that stuff comes back on. But what I really don't like about this situation when you're in like a new hire is that I'm around all these new strange people in this new strange environment. I am uncomfortable, and I'm also afraid to move. Like, heaven forbid if I need to cough or sneeze or get in my bag and get something. It's just so loud, and I don't want that attention. And I also don't want to hear other people doing that either, although that bothers me a little less most of the time. It's mostly myself who doesn't want to make these noises and draw attention. Like, I really don't think it would be that hard to have like a little bit of white noise or maybe some classical music playing or something. Like, would that be so hard? I don't know why they have to be so quiet. It's weird. Speaking of weird things and they like to do during these situations is provide food. So I just say no. I am perfectly okay at this point in my life. I will just decline. And it gets me some weird looks when I decline things, but I don't care anymore. Like, I'm over it. And the most important thing is I don't want to eat in front of you. This kind of goes back to the whole, like, I don't want to have dinner with a historical figure. It's not that I don't feel like I can learn from those people or wouldn't have questions for them. I just don't want to have it with dinner. And it's all the same issues. I don't want it on my hands. I don't want it on me. I don't want to eat in front of you. So I just say no. And every time, like, I don't get it. I'm an adult. I'm not stupid. I see there's 15 pizza boxes 5 feet from me. I see everyone eating pizza. I know I'm allowed to have some if I want. You don't need to bring it up. Like, why do you have to single me out because I don't want a piece of pizza? It's so frustrating. And like, I'm over it. Like I said, it used to be one of these things where like, oh, you know, I'll just take these things to be polite. But it doesn't get me anywhere. So, and nobody seems to remember these things. So it's like, you know what? Whatever. I don't care anymore. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, my email isn't syncing with my phone. I get that this is a new job and you legitimately might have some questions, but you don't need to ask them. I really hate the phrase, there's no such thing as a dumb question, because yes, there is. There's very much a dumb question. First of all, if your question is specific to you, that's a dumb question. It's not so much that the question itself is dumb, it's that your timing and poor choice to do this in front of others and waste other people's time is dumb. The fuck? Ask that on your own time. I'm sorry that you can't figure out tech. That's not my problem. Gosh. And like, this stuff like makes my blood boil because I just want to move on with whatever it is we're doing. And then my favorite type of questions are the ones that prove that despite the fact that you're clearly like an adult, you obviously don't know how the world functions. Things like, I kid you not, my lunch was scheduled from 1 to 2, but I got really busy and I missed it and it's now 2:30. Am I still allowed to take a lunch? You mean that thing mandated by law? Yeah, you're still allowed to take it. Seriously? Like, how can you not? If you don't know how to use Zoom, first of all, Zoom is like the easiest program in the world. Also, stop filming videos like this or like this when you're in Zoom. Like, why am I seeing the side of your head? Like, we know where the camera is. Look at it. Fix it. I look back to some of my corporate experiences and I know the only reason I was able to last as long as I was is because of my ADHD. That doesn't necessarily mean it worked out for my betterment. Sometimes I think it would have been better if I would have flamed out and just quit these jobs. Yeah, it would have caused some financial strain, but maybe I would have figured out what was going on sooner. I don't know. And that is the entire corporate world in a nutshell to me. It's nothing but saying what you're expected to say. You don't lie-ish, but you certainly don't tell the truth. Good times, let me just tell you. But anyways, I hope you all got some usefulness out of this, and comment below, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one. Later.